Joe's gonna come out smoking, and I ain't gonna be joking. I'll be pecking and a poking, pouring water on his smoking. Then this might shock and amaze you, but I will destroy Joe Frazier.
What's happening, fight fans? It is your boy Orlando Nice. Welcome to the fight room. I have a special guest, my homeboy. We grew up watching boxing together, and I'm happy to have him here. Gabe, introduce yourself to everybody.
Hey, what's up, fans? This is your boy GQ. Check out my fragrance page, Gabriel Veras Jr., soon to be boxing page. Just, kicking it here with Nice, talking boxing. We've been watching it since the year 2G. And keeping up with all these fights. Let's get it cracking, baby.
Yep, here we go. So we're gonna talk about the middleweight division. Who do we have top five? Let's talk about the first top five. Gabe, in your list, who do you got top five in the middleweight?
Middleweight division, I'm looking at the two top dogs now, which is definitely Canelo and Triple G. I'm not gonna be biased here. I'm gonna just talk boxing and speak the facts.
Right.
Top two guys are Canelo and Triple G. Now, whoever you say is number one, might be preference as a fan. Right. I don't know. I like Triple G. I think he's more of a solid middleweight. I think Canelo, is more of a blown up welterweight physically.
Okay.
But those are the two top dogs, and then just under them you have Danny Jacobs. He's been there. The Miracle Man. He came up.
Definitely the Miracle Man.
Yeah, he came up. He's deserved his positioning, and that's top three. Then you got the winner of Lemieux and Saunders, which I think is going to emerge as that number 4 guy.
Right. Yeah. To me, I also got Triple G, of course, on top. You can't knock him. He's been doing great. He had 22 consecutive knockouts. Lesser opponents, but he got the job done. Canelo, I like Canelo. I think Canelo, to me, is more all-around fighter as far as boxing. He knows his way around the ring more than Triple G. Triple G is more aggressive. Of course, he has punching power, and you can't knock that away from him, and he's exciting to watch. Number 3, I definitely have Danny Jacobs, like you said. You cannot knock him. He's been doing great. Definitely lesser opponents, of course, but he's getting his shots now, and I can't wait to actually see him back in the ring. He just signed with Matchroom Boxing, and I see him going far with them, with HBO and so forth. So, and then after that, I definitely got David Lemieux, and like you said, after this fight with him and Saunders, that person will be the number 4 spot, and the loser of that, I guess, will be number 5.
Yeah, let me keep it real too. Like, honestly, on that Jacobs and Triple G fight, I'm a Triple G fan. I'm gonna try to not be subjective here, but I felt like Jacobs was like almost getting that win. He was utilizing all his boxing skills. Take away that knockdown that Triple G had against him. That might have been at the very worst a draw, and Jacobs could have even pulled out that win.
Yeah.
So
to be honest, I seen Danny Jacobs win that fight probably by 2 rounds. I seen it like 3 times, and every time I see it the same way. I couldn't see Golovkin winning that fight. I like Golovkin too. I like Danny Jacobs, but Danny got that win, man, to me, and it's a shame. That's what boxing is boxing.
Yeah, those are the top 3 guys though right now, to be honest with you. And that's, and I hate to say this like this, but those are top 3, and then there's everybody else under them. Not to discredit guys like Saunders and Andy Lee. Andy Lee, I personally feel like his time has come and went. But when I say everybody else under those 3 guys, these are your top-notch guys at middleweight right now.
Right.
And also, let me mention, as an honorable mention, this is like, it totally kind of like went over my head. You got a beast in Jermall Charlo. Is it Jermall?
Jamal.
You got a beast in Jermall Charlo, twins. It's easy to get them confused, but obviously there's one who can really crack harder than the other. Right. And they're still both beasts, within their own right. But he is the dark horse of the division. He's coming in, and in my honest opinion, I got Charlo over a lot of guys, and I might even have him over Danny Jacobs.
Ooh. Now that's pretty interesting because I was thinking about that fight actually yesterday. Imagine they fight I like Jacobs, honestly. I think he's all around, man. He's a better all around fighter. He knows how to move around the ring. I have not seen that from Jamal. I can't really knock him. He has more power. But at the end of the day, I think all around, I see Danny Jacobs being a better all around fighter. But power-wise, I might have to give it to Jamal. Just by a lump, just by a little bit.
Yeah, you got to also consider, man, you know, not to disagree. Like, I think Jacobs is great, you know. And I think his story is awesome that he came from, you know, from adversity to triumph and get past cancer. But remember, he does have a TKO loss early in his career to this Russian fighter who, to my knowledge, isn't fighting anymore.
Right.
But the guy straight put him to sleep, man. And that, to me, for a fighter, just doesn't go away when you get put to sleep like that. And if you, in retrospect, if you look at Fernando Vargas or, you know, guys like Roy Jones Jr. who've been laid out like that, that stays inside of you as a fighter. And then you have those questions like, you know, as a fighter, man, can this happen again?
Right.
You don't have that with Charlo. He's a you know, he's a lion. You know, he's new. Has he been tested? You know, you can argue that. You know,
Yeah.
maybe he hasn't been tested yet where we would like him, but I don't know. He's on the rise.
Yeah, he definitely is on a rise. Now that Danny Jacobs signed with Matchroom, do you think that fight would be even a possibility in the near future?
I'm gonna keep it real, man. This division, I don't see much, with the exception of Canelo. I don't see much politics, you know, really getting in the way of these other guys getting it in. But when it comes to like Canelo, which is the golden goose of boxing, the golden boy right now.
Right.
That's where political things can get involved, and in fights to be made with him would be harder. But I think like guys like Charlo and Jacobs getting it in, I don't see anything getting in the way of that. I think that they're not a part of that whole, you know, golden egg shit going on.
Yeah, I hear that. Now let's talk about the David Lemieux versus Billy Joe Saunders. It is gonna take place December 16th. This is a middleweight fight for the WBO title. What do you think about this fight? Who do you got picking, and what's your predictions, Gabe?
To be honest with you, I don't recall watching Billy Joe Saunders ever fight, to be honest with you.
Right.
I'm looking at his 25-0 record with 12 knockouts, so I'm just gonna kind of like wing that one. If you got anything on that.
He does have a credible win. He defeated Chris Eubank Jr. for the WBO title. That's all I have as far as Saunders. I did see that fight, and he pulled it off. I was kind of surprised about that because I was rooting for Eubank to pull it off. I was thinking he was a better, sharper fighter, more power punching, and Saunders pulled that off. So.
Oh, I didn't know that, honestly. I didn't know he fought Eubank Jr. Eubank Jr. has been making some noise for a while now. I remember him pricing himself out of some notable fights that he should have taken.
Speaking of that, Triple G. Supposedly they offered him the Triple G fight, and the purse wasn't right for him, so I guess he passed on that. But that was the excuse, from what I remember, from what I heard.
Well, I mean, so if Saunders got a win over Eubank Jr., that's good. I mean, it's not like you know, I'm not trying to like downplay any other fighter, but that's a good name on his resume. Lemieux, obviously 38 wins, 5 losses or 3 losses?
Lemieux,
3 losses, no draws, and 33 big knockouts. I mean, that's what I'm looking at right there. You know, personally, I've always liked Lemieux at 54, which he didn't stay, or I'm not even sure if he touched 54 ever in his career. I just always felt that with his stature and size, he was better serviced and suited for 54.
Also thought the same thing.
Yeah, so I'm going to pick Lemieux on this fight. I think Lemieux can crack like a horse. You know, Saunders, 12 knockouts, doesn't impress me. And, you know, Lemieux can take a licking. You know, he can take a hit. I mean, Triple G, you saw that fight, you know. He took some hits there, but I just don't see Saunders with his 12 knockouts doing any damage. Right. So I'll go with Lemieux on that one. He can crack. We've seen what he's done with, you know, the likes of Curtis Stevens and other fighters like Rosado and things like that. I mean, he's a knockout guy. This fight is gonna end in a knockout, hands down.
I was predicting the same thing. I'm going for Lemieux by knockout. That's what I have.
How do you assess Saunders' boxing ability?
He's all right. From what I've seen with Chris Eubank, he did all right moving around the ring. He knows how to box. I'll tell you that. He's probably pretty smart in the ring, so that might just qualify him to probably move around and try to get the victory over Lemieux. But as far as punching power, he doesn't have any. I've seen, he doesn't really have any power. So
one thing about Lemieux, you gotta give him credit. Where credit is due, his boxing IQ has really improved throughout the years. Yeah. I've been watching this kid, since he started in Canada, and Lemieux was really he was impressing me. And then they gave him notable guys like Camacho Jr. They gave him some names, Rosado, a few names out there, prospects, right, or once were prospects, and he delivered. And then, right, he got, I felt like the Triple G fight was a little too early for him.
Right, me too.
And again, I'm gonna go with Lemieux. Lemieux, I feel, can cut the ring off. His boxing ability has improved, and Saunders he has his hands full in this fight here.
Now let's talk about Jamal Charlo. He just touched down the 160-pound division. What do you see the likes of him in the future? How do you see him competing with the 160-pounders?
Wow, I give him a lot of credit. He's great. I mean, he's everything you want in a fighter. And let me just mention, a lot of people don't know this, or maybe some do. He comes from that crop of Errol Spence Jr. He's a Texan, and I'm sure those guys have sparred before, and he's cut from that cloth. So if you're big on Spence Jr., you can see the parallels with Charlo and Spence. Man, the guy's incredible.
All right. Speaking of his last fight with what was it, Julian J. Rock Williams, right?
Yep.
By knockout, was impressive knockout. These guys, not only him but his brother, they both got some good knockout power, and actually they've been impressing me in their last 2 or 3 fights, man. And I see that they're gonna come a long way. Just like you said, they have sparred Spence, as I heard, and they sharpening each other up, and I can't wait to see him continue in 160 and make moves and make noise.
Let me point this out too, and I agree with everything you're saying. One good thing and that I like about these Charlo twins, they're not gun shy. These guys, they want to rumble, they want to get in there and take you out. They have an aggressive demeanor, and that's indicative of what you want in a fighter. That you don't see that anymore. Guys from the past, we grew up in the early 2000s, 99, 98, watching these guys fight. The De La Hoyas, the Trinidads. These were offensive fighters. They had their defense, but they came in there and they meant business. This isn't, what we're living in now. There's a lot of fighters who want to play safe and, fight for money. And we understand that you're a prize fighter and you're fighting for money. How about supremacy? You don't see that anymore. And I see that in these guys. I see it in their eyes.
So who do you see on their way out on the 160-pound divisions?
Definitely Andy Lee. Andy Lee was a once prospect under the tutelage of the great and late Emmanuel Stewart. Rest in peace, brother. Right. I just feel like his time came and went. Boxing is the only sport that I know of where a guy's skills can diminish as a result of taking punishment throughout his career. I don't see Andy Lee ever rekindling that eye of the tiger, that hunger he had, and quite frankly, I just don't think his chin can hold up anymore.
Right. Another fight that's coming up on November 11th is the fight between Daniel Jacobs versus Luis Arias. What do you think about that fight? What do you think about Arias? Have you seen them fight before? How do you see this playing out?
Honestly, I haven't seen Luis Arias fight at all. I'm looking at his record, and you're looking at what, 11-0 fighter?
18.
I'm sorry, 18-0. Okay, so you got 18 wins and you got 9 knockouts. So that tells me that you can't really hit, can't really punch. Hence your 9 knockouts. You have an 18-0 record. You're still wet around the ears in a fight game.
Right.
We've seen this before in different fights. This is a no-brainer for me. I'm going with the Miracle Man.
Yeah, I got Miracle Man winning. I actually got him by knockout. I think that Danny Jacobs can pull it off by knockout. Arias was once in the umbrella of the best ever team, the Money Mayweather team, but they had let him go. Don't know too much sure why that happened, but they let him go. I don't know who he's with now. He's still trying to continue his career, but I think it's gonna be a short night come November 11th. This is your boy O-Nice from the Fight Room TV and
your boy Gabriel Veras Jr. signing off. Guys, check out Fight Room TV. Subscribe, comment. There's a host of knowledge behind this mic. Check us out for future videos. Peace.
If you like the sweet science like I do, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon for the latest boxing news and entertainment. Peace.